I'm very excited about this Siddha medicine coming to light. It has been kept in darkness because of the tradition itself is a esoteric and secretive tradition. They don't reveal the secrets behind the herbs or therapeutics and the mechanism of action. All these things are kept secretive. And that has continued up until now. Even now, the intuition plays a great role in trying to diagnose a disease and also treat it too. And it's a very, within the short time that I have, I think we will have ongoing discussions and then work that we will do to bring this medicine to the world. And today's topic for me was to talk about astrology, how the planets play a role in disease origination and also therapeutics and healing. And I can give my own example. For about a year, I have been getting input from Agastya. Agastya is the father of Siddha medicine. And also he's a great astrologer and he knows everything. That he has a light body and his goal is to help humanity with herbs, with astrology, with gemstones, etc. So he has been warning me about foot problem, and that is associated with nerves. And I have foot problem now. And he said that he would give a remedy. That was the call that came, which I have to go to from this reader. And the reader gets into a trance state. And then in that trance state, he is able to figure out what is wrong. And in this connection, I wanted to also, I just remember a woman, a psychic, she has a PhD. She would have diagnosed things in a doctor's office. She would be in a separate building, and I forget her name. It's not coming. So the doctor will be there, and the doctor would call her and then ask her for a diagnosis, and she would go and then scan the body and then tell what's the problem. And she's also very much into astrology. So to come back to my foot problem is due to the planet Saturn. And Saturn is causing these problems. So if I just approach only to treat it on the material, physical level, it may come back again, or it may not have a full resolution. So what we have to do is we have to see how I can propitiate this planet, so that it works as a healing process. And for instance, in the last class, I said, just focus attention on your legs and then use the sound na. Okay. And when you do that, you can really focus your life energy on the foot and then That's the first step you do. That that prepares you for using a Saturn mantra. There's a mantra called Shram. Shram, 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 Shram. So what are we trying to achieve in trying to go into the planets, and then it can be presented in a way that everything has a direct influence on us, because we live in a system of interactive coexistence. So the sun, the moon, and all the other planets have interactions energetically with our body and mind, as well as the soul. And you can, in this problem is caused by Saturn, and then I use the Saturn sound, and then focus attention on my feet, and then work on it. Like this, you can see there are many things that you can do on your own. Instead of, I'm not saying that it is you should not go to a doctor. They look at it from the material, biological, biochemical perspective. But that is needed, that is important. But along with it, you have to go to the origin of it. It's not, there is a saying that we only treat symptoms, not the cause. We never ask the question, what is the cause of the disease, how it was caused? Because there is no answer. How do you know what is the cause? Now I want to briefly mention there was a person who was calling on a spirit, Karupasami, and healing this person. It was midnight. And this poor couple came in. And I was there with the Karupasami channel. And she had a heart problem. And the heart problem was not going away, and the doctors could not do anything. So he called her and then said, you have come here, this is what is your name? And then he didn't spend too much time on her. And he asked her, who is I'm giving an American name, who is this Linda? Is this your sister? Didn't she die 17 days ago? Yeah. She died of a heart attack? Yes. Then he immediately grabbed her hair and then beat her up on it, saying that, Linda, get out of her body. And then instantaneously, she was healed. You know how the fee for that was maybe 10 cents. Karupasami said, I know you are poor. You gave all the money that you had to the doctors, and give the 10 cents, drop it in the donation box and go away. So it is very important to look at healing, alternative healing, through elevated consciousness, which can reveal everything. And the cause was the Linda, or the sister who died of a heart attack, and she got into her body. That's the problem. And how can Western science figure it out? It can't. So I'm saying this because besides the astrological, planetary oriented healing, there are other modalities too. And even the plants have spirits. And you have to talk to the spirits. When I walked down, the Vinca Rosia has been talking to me, oh, God, I will reveal myself to you. I know that I have something to do because I do so many things. There's no time, but I will get to Vinca Rosia because I'm going online with this information because one day Vinca Rosia is going to help the world, because Agastya told me that Vinca Rosia can be very helpful to transform the body. And then we know that Vinca Rosia is also used in cancer treatment, like the vinblastine, vincristine. There are drugs available. So Siddha medicine is a medicine which is very deep. It doesn't look at only the physical body, the biology and the biochemistry, and at the molecular level. But it goes beyond, looking at the body to the field of energy, and then, and this is how the healing herbs were revealed to the Siddha practitioners in a deep meditation. So there is a herb called Bacopa, which is a great herb for memory, and lots of research have been done on this. Turmeric is number one, and how they target different simultaneously different parts of the body is a miracle. If you look at a Siddha text and see for turmeric, and then it targets almost everything. It goes everywhere. That's one of the biggest problem for scientific researchers. And most of the time, only things are revealed. Things are revealed to you. I'm now working with finding molecules, which is, people will say this is ridiculous. We have data science, we have artificial intelligence, and then we are not able to do that. I was listening to the CEO of Novartis. He said, it's a miracle to find a molecule for a drug, but it can be done very quickly and effectively through consciousness, to getting into the right consciousness. So Siddha medicine focuses on all of this: consciousness, planets, the spirits of the behind the plant. All these are very important. I think all that you need is, you need an enormous amount of money to do the research, and I'm confident the divine will provide that. And it is just the beginning. I'm getting together like-minded people who can, relate to it and contribute to the future medicine. So there are other speakers here, and then I will. One of the things that I think they will take their turn, and then will say what they have to say. So I will come back again at the end.
Thank you, Dr. Pillai, for sharing your insights. Now I'd like to introduce our special guests. We're welcoming back Dr. Rebecca Prosco, who practices internal medicine in Florida. She's also the head of a group practice there. So welcome, Dr. Prosko. I know you have some interesting research reviews that you'd like to share, particularly on Bacopa.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity today, and thank you to Dr. Pillai for inviting me again. I'd like to tell a lovely story. I've had the opportunity to grow some of these herbs actually in my home in Florida, and I had Bacopa in my front yard, and a really nice patch of it, very high quality that I had obtained from a nursery in Tampa that specializes in this. And I was growing this Bacopa and just loved it. And all of a sudden I'm seeing, oh my gosh, they have these big, huge black caterpillars crawling all over them. It totally decimated the Bacopa in like 2 days. It was totally gone. And I was kind of upset. I thought, my gosh, should I get some pesticide and kill these caterpillars? Of course, it didn't even leave me enough time to do something like that. And I was thinking about it anyway, because I didn't want to do anything. But a few days later, I noticed these beautiful, and I'm going to try to show you this picture. All these, I don't know if you can at all see this. Can you see this beautiful butterfly? Anyway, it's called a white peacock butterfly, and they were everywhere. So I looked up, I thought, my gosh, I'd never seen these butterflies before. So I looked them up and my gosh, there's my black caterpillar, there's the beautiful Bacopa, and there's these beautiful white peacock butterflies. So I got a little bit more Bacopa, but this time I put a net on them. But I thought it was amazing that that these peacock butterflies showed up. Anyway, Bacopa is one of my favorite herbs. It basically is like turmeric, has multiple effects on cellular processes in the body that have been really pretty extensively studied. I'm certainly not at all have any comprehensive knowledge of it, but I do have a pretty good foundational knowledge of what's been going on. And a lot of the initial research, or not initial, but substantive research, started in 1996, where the Indian government created a alcohol extract of Bacopa, and this is what many of the studies have been used as the agent. Anyway, it's a cholinergic drug. So for anybody who doesn't know that, there's a cholinergic and anticholinergic, or sympathetic, parasympathetic. Okay, so the sympathetic nervous system is that part of the nervous system where you're fight or flight running from the saber-toothed tiger, and that would be an anticholinergic. The cholinergic is the part that lets you relax, you eating your food, you're digesting, and it promotes salivation, lacrimation, diarrhea, that kind of thing, if it's too much. So Bacopa has been used for pain, epilepsy, inflammation, all kinds of things, but really it focused more on memory and cognition and improving memory processes, and actually in age-related memory loss, it's been shown to improve age-related memory loss from the multiple causes of that memory loss. And it's actually been studied in a lot of elderly folks who had memory loss. 8 weeks worth of Bacopa on a neuropsych tests showed improvement when given with vitamin B, vitamin B, a little bit of copper, and amino acid called L-theanine. And it was the Bacopa improved memory, and it lasted. And there were also studies done on non-demented elderly folks that were able to improve their Stroop test results. That is, their ability to sort out what's important and not important, which is, as everyone knows, a very important thing in life, is to be able to know what's important and what isn't important information. And your brain often just automatically does that. But as folks age, even normal aging, it gets to be increasingly difficult for people. But it showed an improvement after just a number of weeks, and that improvement remained. It's also been studied in younger folks, 40 to 60-year-old adults, which showed marked improvement in new information retention. And interestingly, it's being classified as a nootropic medication, Nootropic, which basically is a category of supplement that is like a smart drug. or a cognitive enhancer. So it will, in a normal adult, a normal child even, improve their cognition, improve their ability to retain information, improve working memory. So like working memory would be like you read your recipe and then you go to implement those things, and then you go back, oh my gosh, how much salt was it I was supposed to do? Well, it would improve that so that you could read the recipe once and go and do those things. Or serial digits, like recalling telephone numbers. Now that we have phones where you just press a button, no one recalls the telephone numbers. But it improves all those things that are very useful in daily life. In addition, it's been studied in school children. Of course, there has to be a lot more studies done, but there are a lot of them online. And the Australian Research Council's gotten very involved in this, and they're just currently recruiting 400 adults, and they're going to study it in a 4-part manner, Bacopa administration, and they're going to study it with neuroimaging. They're going to study gut flora, which is an interesting category, cardiovascular effects, and cognitive tests. And it'll be very interesting to see that as time goes by. But there's so much research on it. It is just amazing. But I do know that years ago, I looked into Bacopa, and when Dr. Pillai brought out his Nambu Botanicals high memory formula, which is a Bacopa Moneri formulation that's specific to Dr. Pillai's company. It had enough of the bacoside, which is the active ingredient, that studies showed to be effective. So you had to have at least 320 milligrams worth of the active bacoside in order to be effective and have these memory improvements. 640 also gave you very, very improved results, but a few more side effects like this diarrhea, salivation, lacrimation. So it wouldn't be good for people who say had a lot of problems in those regards. So, but Dr. Pillai's formula was very early on the market with the appropriate amount of bacoside to be clinically and effective in people. Now there's a couple of more on the market, but we do know that Nambu Botanicals does have it available, and it would be something that most people could take and do very well with. I take it. I have really no side effects or problems with it, but I do notice that it does help memory. And I think Nambu, if you're still around, I think we had a lovely lady who's practicing as a psychologist in Canada who wanted to weigh in on some of the neuropsychologic effects.
Great. Okay. Thank you. I'd like to, at this point, introduce Dr. Anastasia Skye. She's a physician and a general practitioner who lives in Ontario, Canada. And Dr. Skye, would you be able to, I know you and Dr. Prosko were having a good conversation before this about Bacopa and about some of the memory and the mood enhancement and some of the other attributes for Bacopa. Could you welcome and go ahead and speak and ask your questions of Dr. Prosko?
Yes, thank you, Nambu, and thank you very much, Dr. Pillai, for inviting me, and Dr. Prosko and all the other distinguished guests here and participants. It's really a pleasure to be here, and I would like to say that I practice in psychotherapy in Ontario, and there is a personal interest that I have in these herbs, as I find, that especially now during the pandemic, increase in mood problems, anxiety, and of course, memory and cognitive problems that happen for, the general public amid the pandemic is astronomical. And so, just to say a little bit about myself before I ask my question is, thanks to the meditation work, the self-care that I'm able to have as a result of the process with Dr. Pillai allows me to meet my patients in a way that I'm centered. And oftentimes I don't know the answer as a physician to their problems. I truly do not. And when I surrender and I ask for the answers to come, They truly do. And they come from beyond my training, from beyond my years of experience as a human being and professional. And answers to problems come throughout sessions with patients. And it's just amazing to watch how problems that seem to be there disappear. And they can disappear quickly or slowly, but they do disappear. And so as well, on top of this, the psychotherapy process, if there are also additional modalities that can help the public, that would be wonderful. So my question to you, Dr. Prosko, is mood and anxiety. Those are the questions I have. And is there any information you would like to share about how those have been studied, the effects on mood and anxiety? Bacopa.
Yeah, they've studied several instances in which Bacopa does have a calming effect, an anti-anxiety effect. And certainly that would go along with this mechanism of, okay, fight or flight versus, cholinergic effects of improving memory, calming down, centering, being able to have your meal, relax with your family or whatever it is you're doing, and remain centered and concentrated and not all over the place worrying about everything that's happening. Oh my God, is that tiger coming to get me? So they have studied these 8 weeks worth of Bacopa on elderly folks and also on adults using mini mental status exam, which I'm sure you know, a perceived stress questionnaire, which would go along with these are all what are called validated tools, okay? And I just know you know what a validated tool is and the other physicians do, but a validated tool is a questionnaire or a neuropsychologic test such as the mini mental status that has been studied in an ongoing manner and shown to see clinical improvement. And there are actually research articles that validate the use of these tools. So in any of these studies, all of these folks have used validated tools to say that, yes, this does improve anxiety. Yes, this does improve mood. Yes, this does improve cognition, working memory, executive functioning, etc. So, and there, the other thing is self-rating mood scale that was also used and showed improvement.
Thank you. This is very encouraging, Dr. Prosko, and very, very interesting. So the cognitive testing, the psychometric testing results are already showing positive results. And in terms of neuroimaging, I have another question. Neuroimaging and gut flora studies. What type of neuroimaging is being used or will be used in studying?
Well, I'm not sure exactly because that was a quick abstract, and truthfully, I didn't purchase the article, but I read the abstract. So they just said neuroimaging, but I do know that like SPECT can be used, and it differentiates between types of memory loss, right? Very clearly. Yes. PET can be used. There's a certain type of contrast media, so to speak, that will tell you what type of dementia or what type of memory loss is there. And then just plain old MRI scanning. I mean, when I review MRI scans on all my patients, I look for volumetric changes in certain areas, such as the hippocampus. And that would back up memory issues if there was volumetric decrease in a hippocampal area. And EEG, of course, and EEG also shows very, very subtle changes often in memory, mood, the EEG brain mapping. It's a wonderful tool and it's very inexpensive. So I believe that study was saying they were going to use SPECT, but I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to go back and try to study that up.
That is wonderful, wonderful to hear about that. And I'm also very encouraged and would love to get more information on Bacopa as I continue to understand it, right, and see the applications. Yes. I'm interested, this is a question I'm asking is, of course, impact on the physical body, but, this is a Siddha herb. And so the effects on subtle levels must be there and must be happening for all the patients that are taking, all the people that are taking these herbs. So it's physical and subtle levels that
Absolutely.
are effective.
Right.
Say. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Skye. Thank you, Dr. Frosco.
Thank you.
It's interesting that you brought up about the subtle level, Dr. Skye, because that is exactly why Dr. Pillai started Nambu Botanicals, was to be able to introduce these powerful Siddha herbs so that people can benefit not only physically, but also on the subtle level as well. And Dr. Pillai went into those other bodies last weekend. So right now, what I'd like to do is bring on Dr. Gautam, who is rejoining us again. And again, for those of you who weren't here last week, Dr. Gautam has overseen several positions in clinical medicine, innovative research. He's done a lot of integrative research with projects with Harvard Medical School and also Lupin Pharmaceuticals. And what Dr. Gautam is going to speak on today, and we're going to have a little presentation for you, is the herbs that are in Dr. Pillai's revolutionary, innovative Siddha formula, which we have been developing for the past several months. He has been developing for the past several months, and it will be ready in January. But each of these herbs have they're like a super science. Each of these herbs have numerous indications, and Dr. Gautam is going to go over those indications, meaning indications is how the herb actually works in your body, how it helps you with your health problems. So I'm going to go ahead and invite Dr. Gautam.
Yes, thank you very much, Beth, and thank you, Dr. Pillai, for inviting to on this presentation for today's event. And yeah, so just like how Prosco and Anastasia just mentioned about, and Dr. Pillai earlier, he mentioned about how the Siddha medicine has been so very powerful, more at the subtle level and at the molecular level. So I'll just quickly go through the couple of herbs here, which has been developed by Dr. Pillai in a very unique formulation. So one of the herbs here is noni. It's called Morinda Citrofolia. That's the botanical name, and it has a very good effect on memory, and also it promotes sleep, and it modulates the brain activity through the neurotransmitters through serotonin and melatonin, and it also improves weight by suppressing. It has a very good appetite suppressant effect. So that's a brief introduction about this very powerful herb. Most of you would have, be familiar with these herbs. So we'll just move on to the next one. The next one is the neem. So the neem, this is a very, this has been researched quite extensively around the world. And it's a very, very powerful herb in modulating your immune system. And it also modulates your blood sugar levels, and it has very strong antibacterial properties as well. So this specific herbs, as when you also use it as a in the day-to-day life, you also connect with the subtle body very strongly. So this, it can, and next we have the Bilva Leaves. So this one has has a good immune modulatory effect, and it also controls your blood sugar levels in a very significant way. And it also has a respiratory effect, and it is widely used in respiratory disease conditions as well. And the next herb is the Tamarind. And this is very, very unique. You wouldn't find in most herbal formulation this unique herbs. And this is specifically divinely guided by Dr. Pillai. And this one has a very significant effect as an anti-inflammatory, and also in your weight modulation, in controlling your weight. So it has a very significant effect on pain and inflammation as well. And you have lemon, that juice, this most of you must be very familiar with. It's a powerful antioxidant, and it also has an anti-inflammatory properties as it listed here. It improves, your sugar level and it controls your sugar and also your skin tone. And these are the 5 herbs which has been uniquely formulated, to have a profound effect in modulating your immunity specifically, so that you have a high resistance, so that you don't, you can handle your disease process very effectively, and also for your overall immunity conditions. Yeah,
Great.
Beth? Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Gautam.
Do you have any other questions specifically? Yeah.
This is, I think it's probably, people might be able to guess a bit from some of the indications of these herbs. The formula is called Kono Karuna, and it will be a immune boosting formula. And I did have a quick question for you, Dr. Gautam. Is it unusual that one herb can have so many active, sort of bioactive, different types of health benefits for you? Or it just seems like there's so many for each herb. Is that unusual, or is that more particular for Siddha herbs? And how have you seen? I know you've done some integrative work in the past, so just curious if you could comment on that.
Sure. Thanks. That's a very good question. So typically, in allopathy or modern medicine, you have a drug, you have a specific molecule, and it works, on a specific receptor level. So the indication is very specific to particular disease conditions. Whereas in Siddha medicine formulation, you have n number of active molecules, bioactive molecules, and phytoconstituents. And they, based on their very systematic Siddha literature, they have documented evidence that each herb works in different organ systems. Say, for example, you take noni, they know it works in the brain. They know they works in the liver, in the respiratory system. So whatever the disease condition affecting the particular organs, so they have a profound effect. So typically they have multiple effects and multiple indications in any one formulation of Siddha medicine. So that's the very unique way, and it is very systematically studied. It's not that they randomly claim, oh, this can work on multiple systems. There is a very systematic documentation in the literature, and based on that, they currently, they have evidence validating all that with systematic studies and research and research work. Yes.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Gautam. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Pillai to conclude our masterclass today and share with us his final insights and a little bit more about the personalization. Thank you, Dr. Pillai.
Well, I was away for to get back to this astrologer who called me just at the beginning of the session. And then I never told him anything. And he has to diagnose what the problem I have, or not necessarily. And I did not tell him why I called him. But then when the reading came, it said that you have the problem in your foot and it is due to Saturn. And this is the remedy that you have to do. So this is something amazing. This is what I want to bring to the world. So, without knowing anything about the patient, somebody is able to predict not only the illness, but also give a remedy. And that remedy is simply to visit a temple or pray to the planet. And I gave the Shram mantra for the Saturn planet. So that's about my personal things that are going on with me, so which I shared with you. So to go back to what Dr. Gautam has been talking about, And this formulation is very a powerful formulation. And initially, the formulation in India is called Amrita Karna, Elixir. It's an elixir. And I'm going to give you or throw light on the areas that Dr. Kautam is not an expert on, but because it verges on the theology or the gods that rule those particular plants, the 5 plants. Let me start from the last one that he talked about, is lemon, which is very, very, commonly used fruit. I'll tell you what the lemon can do. There is a tradition in India, when you go see some people, you just give a lemon to that person. If that person is someone who is VIP or some guru, you give that. And when you give that to the guru will hold it, and he will know, and he will put it on his ear, and then he will know the thought patterns of that person. And this is how that person, the guru, if he is well trained, will be able to say, this is your problem, including your diseases. So what is there in the lemon? So I want, for the listeners, I want to give some information that is very, very valid, useful. So if you have some illness or a very difficult financial problem or relationship problem or any problem, you simply transfer that problem to this fruit and then cut it. Especially if you cut, you can even buy the key limes, which is very inexpensive, and cut this, because as long as, you keep on cutting, you can cut up to 108, you will see a relief. This is working with a subtle medicine. And nobody practices it except that, I've been promoting it. This is only to look at the spiritual, metaphysical quality of this fruit. And the Siddhas call it the Shiva's fruit. Shiva Kani in Tamil, which means Shiva's fruit. And what it means is you can use this fruit for any kind of problems you have. It is the concept called Sarva Roga Nivarani. That means all kinds of problems, diseases included, will be solved by this fruit. And then there were other things. So the Bilva is another thing that he presented, which is in this elixir. Bilva is again a tree dedicated to, again, Lord Shiva. And more importantly, under the tree, Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, sat and meditated, and her energy is also there. So it is also a prosperity. And of late, I have found something, very interesting. And I have bowel movement problem. And I've been trying with so many things, but what really created for me is the Bilva leaf. And that worked me immensely. But it gives you money on the one hand, takes care of your constipation, and gives you enlightenment. And there are And I went and researched on how many indications are associated with this particular Bilva leaf. There are, believe it or not, 40 indications. So that is the problem, for Western medicine to figure it out. What are you saying? This is, working at different levels. But then you have to go and identify the molecules, because once we get into the molecule, because I have done some research on that. Gautam has also done research. And we have done joint research together too. And then there are innumerable molecules that show up, that will blow your mind. So all that is required is tremendous amount of financial resources to dig into it and then make it available to people. And in the meantime, these things are available, easily in the, even in America it's available, but we have put together this combination. And the other one is the neem. And the neem, somebody tried to patent neem, but the government said you cannot patent it because it has been in the public domain of the Siddhas for thousands of years. They stopped it, so nobody can patent it. And the neem is the herb associated with the goddess. In all the temples, goddess temples, in villages particularly, they take the leaves and then grind it up, and then along with turmeric, and then offer it to the goddess, and it will remain with the goddess. The idea is the goddess will bless her, give the energy, and then the following day they come and take it. And then this has been the medicine for a long, long time. And then, as Gautam said, this herb has been researched extensively all over the world, and I was talking to someone who has extracted a molecule out of it with fabulous results. So we have a tremendous amount of potential in studying this, and that will lead to creating a new medicine. What we require is a new medicine, and then which involves the cooperation of people with different specialties, like the Nadi readers, the astrologers. As a matter of fact, the good news is that I have found a great astrologer in medical astrology. And also you can find out a lot through very intense calculations. And we are in the process of getting them all somehow turned into a software. And so I'm in the process of doing that. My passion is this Siddha medicine, not using it as is, but also validating it and enriching it. When we bring both together, when we bring the Western biotech and Siddha medicine together, and it will create a new medicine for the 21st century. That's all I have to say, unless we have time and people have questions, I will answer them.
Thank you, Dr. Pillai.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to ask our guests, special guests, do you have questions for Dr. Pillai on Siddha medicine and how it can revive and protect our health? I think, Dr. Skye, you had a question about the subtlety of Siddha medicine and how it works on the subtle body.
Yes. Yes, Nambu. So, Dr. Pillai, could you expand a little bit on this, how the Bacopa works on the subtle body? It would be very interesting to hear.
See, Bacopa was a medicine that was revealed to Siddhas. And there is a goddess who is presiding over this medicine. And this goddess is called Saraswati, the goddess of education. And the brain, she's also the goddess of the brain. And this is all what the Siddhas say. And their ability is to see how you can, by going through the goddess and praying to her, and then pray to her with a request. I have this Bacopa leaves. Please bless these leaves. There's a prayer. Prior to that, you can, even the plant is removed from the earth, you have to worship her and then say, and I am going to, remove you from the earth. That means it is death for you. But would you sacrifice your life and leave the energy in the plant so that humanity can be benefited? And there is also a ritual that goes with that. And when you prepare the medicine following all these steps, it's 100% powerful. But it can be made even more powerful by looking at the proteins within this, the amazing, discoveries have been made. So when you have to bring these together, the Siddhas won't be able to explain to you more than about the mantras that you have to use, the time that you have to take this herb, and how it goes and affects all the 5 different bodies you have. They won't elaborate on it. They will only say briefly, there is a mantra, there is a yantra, there is a fire ritual for these goddess. And then if you do, it will be, you will be taken care of. But what I want to bring to the world is this knowledge, along with what molecular biology can offer, to understand where the secrets are, in which molecules, which proteins carry that. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Pillai.
Thank you, Dr. Pillai, for sharing with us. And I know your time is very precious. And I want to thank you for giving your knowledge and insights here.
Okay, we will have more discussions as we go along with God's grace.
Okay, excellent.
Okay.
I also want to thank all of the guests, the special guests, for joining the masterclass and for helping also lend your insights and your background into these herbs, Siddha medicine, and how it works and revives and protects your body. So what I'd like to do next is invite you all to get on the list. So there's two things that are very precious and good information that you can get. So the first one is if you hop on our update list, then you will receive Dr. Pillai's 5-sound meditation, which he taught in the masterclass last weekend. Very powerful meditation that goes through the entire body. The second thing you'll get is the updates. So we have some special classes that we are organizing that are going to be weekly, and it's going to share about the psychological, the emotional, and the biological effects of each of these herbs. We're going to go deeper into what Dr. Gautam explained today, and we're going to go deeper into how you can use these herbs and how the powerful effect they have on your daily life. So sometimes when you say something is a mood enhancer, what does that really mean? Well, it's pretty powerful, actually. Having a mood enhancer means that you get up in the morning and you're really happy to go to work. You have clarity, you have focus, and you have good communication skills. So there's so many benefits that you can get from Siddha herbs. And we're going to go deeply into each of these herbs and talk more, as I said, on the psychological and the emotional effects. So those will be held on Wednesdays, and we will go weekly for the next probably 6 to 8 weeks. We'll see how we'll take it as we go. The second thing is to get onto the list is we have this new formula coming out from Dr. Pillai. The Kono Karuna is the name of the formula. So you, by putting your name on the list, you become one of the first people to receive this formula. So it is a rare and innovative formula. It's actually made with fresh leaves. It's the first of its kind. There's no other formula in the world right now that is going out globally that's made with fresh leaves. And it takes a lot of care and attention to get those leaves procured and get all the leaves extracted. So we will have limited batch sizes. So if you can get on the list, then you'll be the first people to be notified. There'll be mini specials. There'll be some pricing specials, which will also help you not only just now, but also throughout the year with this product. So it's pretty precious opportunity. And then the third thing is, as we heard from Dr. Prosko, Dr. Skye, we have Bacopa available from Numbu Botanicals. And it's also there's a small special going on as well. So we have limited quantity of these single herb formulas. And if you go to numbuherbs.com, you can go ahead and take advantage of those. We don't know if we will be reordering them. So what we have available is what we have. So what's in stock right now is the quantity that we have. So really encourage you all to go ahead and take advantage of that while these herbs are available. And again, it's Bacopa, and it's called High Memory with Numbu Herbs. So I want to thank you all for attending today, and look forward also in your inbox for updates on upcoming webinars and presentations that we're going to be doing on Siddha medicine. It's a deep and rich field of study and also of medicine. So we want you to be able to take advantage of catching all the future webinars as well. So thank you very much, and hope everyone has a wonderful day and a rejuvenating and health reviving weekend. Thank you.